I asked him, why do you escape from the base and put yourself in trouble? And he said, it's a long story, but in short, if I don't get out of the base and go to work and make money for my daughters, my two daughters would go to bed hungry. And he pulled out his wallet and showed me a picture of his 2-year-old twin girls. That hit me like a lightning strike. I got chills and goosebumps in my whole body. When I was 19 and I had to go to military duty in Iran, I ended up to a logistics base in Air Force. And soon after I got there, I was appointed to a leadership position to lead a unit of 180 soldiers. And I didn't know why my commanders thought I was a good fit to lead the worst unit out of 6 units in that Air Force base. And it was a mystery to me. They told me to use my authority power to bring discipline to the unit and get it under control. I did it for a few weeks. But soon I realized that the commanding and controlling was not getting me and my unit anywhere. So I decided to talk to the soldiers and find out about the problems, about the issues, and how we can solve the problems. So I planned to talk to 10 soldiers each day and hear from them. I finished the whole research in 20 days. And I heard many stories and many good suggestions and recommendations. But the story of Hussein, the soldier that I started this video with his story, just changed my leadership and even my personal life. He told me that he fell in love with a girl when he was 25. At that time, when he was in the military service, he was 28. When he fell in love with that girl, they decided to marry. And they married despite of the disagreement from both sides, from both families. He did it anyway. And then the next year, his wife gave birth to a twin girl. When the twins just turned into 2 years of age, he was called by the Iranian government to military duty. And none of his family, like his own family and his wife's family, to support and take care of the wife and the 2 girls while he was in military duty. So he decided to rent a small house in the countryside about 20 miles away from that Air Force base, and he planned to go to work during the days off to support his family. Basically, we had 24-hour shift and the next day off. But by the way that he could get out of the base through a hole in the fence around the base, it was about like 30 hours. So imagine that he was going to work every other day for about 10 hours, 12 hours, till evening, late evening, and then he went home to see his wife and his twins. And then at 5 a.m. the next day, he had to be in the base to start the 24-hour shift. But he stayed with his promise, he was committed, and he was so determined to bring money, bring bread to the table. And when I heard his story, that was the moment that I decided to shift from commanding and control type of management, actually not a leadership, to supportive and servant leadership. Despite of many recommendations from my commanders and even warning that they will remove me from my position, I continued that type of leadership. There were many soldiers in my unit that they had problems. And that was the reason for many challenges that we were facing with. But I continued that type of servant and parenthood leadership. Even I was 19 at that time, and many of the soldiers were older, much older than me. In 3 months, my unit became the best unit in that Air Force base. And within 6 months, my unit became the best unit in the entire logistics bases of Air Force. So that was the lesson I learned, that when you shift from commanding and controlling type of management to supportive and servant leadership, everything starts to shift in a good way. And I learned that my external problem, the problem from my subordinates, was still my problem. I had to face it and come up with some solutions. Of course, with the help of my soldiers, of my subordinates. And this is a lesson for every leader, that when you shift from commanding and controlling, from dictatorship kind of management, which is not a leadership, to supportive and servant leadership, to the parenthood type of leadership, everything starts to shift in a good way, and everything starts to change. And you see very good results, great results in your leadership, in your company, your organization, and even the state that you are leading. And you get success, happiness, joy, and peace. So remember that the external problems, because now we are talking about the challenges that the leaders are facing today. We talked about the internal problems on the previous video, which was about you as a person, as a leader. And then on this video, I'm talking about the external problem of you as a leader. not the external problem of your organization. That's going to be next subject on maybe 1 or 2 videos. But the external problem you're facing with still is your problem. The problems of your subordinates, your employees, your family members, your coworkers is still your problem. And you have to take responsibility. And of course, you can get help from your employees, your subordinates, your coworkers, because several brains or many brains work better than one brain. And it does not diminish the significance of your role. And it does not diminish the respect for you. So that was a lesson that I learned when I was 19, and I continued that type of leadership since then. And I will tell you some other experiences that I had in medical school and their workplaces that I was in leadership position. I wanted to share with you this external problem that I had experience with. And I like to hear from you, your stories in the comment box. And please share your stories. Shall you have any question? You can message me in the comment box or just contact me through email. Thank you so much for watching. Be a legendary servant leader.